Conversations with my 15-year-old son. This last week, whoo, did I have one. My son is starting to mature up, man up, and he's decided that muscles are important. And so, of course, he starts to research because I've taught him well on that. And he goes out and says, I want creatine. I want to do this after I work out. And so I sat down with him and I started showing him the ingredients of where this comes from. And we sourced it back to a fertilizer. And so for me to sit there and tell him, hey, there's so much better ways that we can get food-based creatine in your system and make these muscles large like you want to make them without the cost of something synthetic that damages your health down the road. And like my other children, he looked at me and said, Mom, it's really frustrating that you know so much. I just want to take this shake. I just want to have these muscles. Why is everything about your health? And it was so interesting. We had such great conversations because this really is the mindset that I see with so many people. It doesn't matter what I do today because I get what I want. I get that sugar high, I get that food fix, I get that big muscle. But then at what cost does that have for you? Because what we see a lot of times, just take creatine, is it puts water into your muscle. It makes you big and fluffy, but it doesn't actually make you strong. And because it is a chemical, because we're using synthetic powders, it's actually putting a larger load on your liver, which makes it difficult for it to get rid of the toxins. And when we start looking at the body, health is very rarely lost in one day. Health is lost through choices that we make day in and day out for decades. Now, one of the things that I'm seeing with my young children, the teenagers, is that you haven't had the luxury of real food. You are 2000 and on is the first generation that has been raised on almost all synthetic, chemically laden food. You don't have the reserves that your parents did. And what are we seeing? We're seeing health diseases or diseases that we didn't see until the 50s, 60s, and 70s. We're actually seeing those in our teens in great, great numbers. So I encourage you to always ask, but at what cost? That one Sprite, that one dessert, but we continuously do it day in and day out. It's time to take charge. It's time to investigate, and it's time to make better choices. Talk to you all soon.